On a cold winter evening in New York City, thousands of people hurried through the crowded streets, focused on their own lives and destinations. Among them sat a homeless man named Daniel near a busy subway entrance. Most people passed by without noticing him. Some avoided eye contact altogether. To them, he was just another forgotten face in the city. But what nobody knew was that Daniel had once lived a completely different life. Years ago, he had graduated with honors, worked as an engineer, and dreamed of building a successful future. However, a series of devastating events changed everything. His father passed away unexpectedly, medical bills piled up, his business failed, and one setback after another eventually pushed him into poverty. After losing his savings, his home, and his confidence, Daniel found himself living on the streets. Yet despite losing almost everything, he never lost one thing: his integrity. One evening, as he sat quietly watching people rush by, he noticed something lying near a park bench. Curious, he walked over and picked it up. It was a black leather wallet. Looking around, he realized that whoever had dropped it was already gone. Daniel carefully opened the wallet to see if there was any identification inside. The moment he looked inside, he froze. The wallet contained several credit cards, personal identification documents, and more than $5,000 in cash. For a homeless man who often struggled to find enough money for food, it felt like a miracle. $5,000 could completely change his situation. It could pay for shelter, warm clothes, meals, and give him a chance to start over. Nobody had seen him pick up the wallet. Nobody would ever know if he kept it. Daniel sat silently for several minutes, staring at the money. His mind was filled with conflicting thoughts. Part of him wanted to take it and finally escape the misery he had endured for years. But another part of him knew that the money belonged to someone else. After a long moment, he slowly closed the wallet and made a decision. No matter how difficult his life had become, he refused to solve his problems by taking what wasn't his. Inside the wallet, he found an identification card belonging to a man named Michael Anderson. The address listed was in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the city. The next morning, Daniel began the long journey across town. He couldn't afford public transportation, so he walked for hours through freezing temperatures. Eventually, he arrived at a large mansion surrounded by expensive cars and perfectly maintained gardens. Standing at the front gate, Daniel hesitated. He looked at his worn clothes and wondered whether anyone would even open the door for him. Gathering his courage, he pressed the doorbell. A security camera turned toward him, and moments later, the front door opened. A well-dressed man stepped outside. It was Michael Anderson. The moment Michael saw the wallet in Daniel's hands, his eyes widened in shock. He quickly took it and checked inside. Every dollar was still there. Nothing was missing. Michael looked back at Daniel in disbelief. He couldn't understand why someone in Daniel's situation would return so much money. Most people would have kept it without hesitation. Yet this homeless stranger, Michael thanked him repeatedly and offered him a reward. But Daniel politely shook his head. He explained that he hadn't returned the wallet because he wanted money. He returned it because it was the right thing to do. Those simple words left a powerful impression on Michael. After Daniel left, Michael couldn't stop thinking about him. There was something remarkable about a man who remained honest despite facing such difficult circumstances. Over the next few days, Michael became curious about Daniel's past. He hired an investigator to learn more about him. What he discovered surprised him. Daniel had once been a highly skilled engineer with an excellent academic record. He had not become homeless because of laziness or crime. He had simply been overwhelmed by a series of unfortunate events. The more Michael learned, the more he admired him. A week later, Michael found Daniel sitting in the same spot near the subway station. This time, he approached him with an unexpected offer. Michael owned a successful construction company and needed someone with technical knowledge and strong problem-solving skills. The first few months were challenging. Many employees questioned why the company owner had hired a homeless man. Some doubted his abilities. Others expected him to fail. Daniel heard the whispers and gradually things began to change. His knowledge, experience, and dedication started producing results. He solved problems that others couldn't solve. He helped improve projects and saved the company significant amounts of time and money. Slowly, the same people who once doubted him began to respect him. Managers sought his advice. Clients praised his work. The homeless man who had once been invisible was becoming one of the company's most valuable employees. Over the next few years, Daniel received several promotions. He moved into an apartment, rebuilt his savings, and eventually bought a small home of his own. For the first time in over a decade, one day, Michael invited Daniel into his office. He explained that he was preparing to retire and wanted someone trustworthy to help lead the company into the future. Daniel assumed Michael was talking about another executive. Then Michael smiled and revealed that he was talking about him. As Daniel sat there, overwhelmed with emotion, he realized how a single decision had changed the course of his life. Returning that wallet had not instantly solved his problems. It hadn't magically made him successful. But it had opened a door. A door that eventually led to opportunities he never imagined possible. Years later, at a company celebration, Michael shared Daniel's story with hundreds of employees. The room fell silent as they listened. When he finished, Michael left them with a message they would never forget. He said, "Character is what you do when nobody is watching." And Daniel's story proved that sometimes the smallest act of honesty can create the biggest transformation. Because true success is not measured by how much money a person has, but by the choices they make when faced with difficult decisions. Sometimes, doing the right thing can change your life forever.